projected path, Beryl again is expected to cross the island chain of the Grenadines tomorrow morning. When we say expected to cross, we're talking about now the center of Beryl. Okay? So between the hours, by our calculation, between the hours of 2 a.m. and 2 p.m., that will be the most concerned period for us. That's where the eye will be closest to us. And due to the structure of a cyclone, the area around the eye is the one with the most activity. That is the area one has to be most concerned about, because that is where we have, one, the lowest pressure, and most importantly, the strongest winds. Okay? So Beryl has a perfectly defined eye and central system, and that makes it now a little easier to track. Now, based on the last estimate of forecasted position from for 2 a.m. tomorrow morning and 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, and when you compare that to what was forecasted 24 hours ago, we see that Beryl will be passing now even closer to us. Yeah? I don't think the Grenadine, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique will be spared a direct hit. Okay? So we just have to be prepared for that. What we also have to be prepared for us, and one set of data we have to take into consideration. Now, hurricane force winds from the last advisory only extend 15 miles from the area, from the center, sorry, okay? But tropical force winds extend 80 miles from the center. So it means that the entire state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique should be affected with tropical force winds. That means winds up to 45 miles an hour, at least. Okay? And bear in mind that Grenada is only, 20-something miles long, so the eye of the system can be beyond the horizon, and the whole of Grenada could still be under that envelope or that radius of tropical storm force winds. So this is something we have to be mindful of. That is why it is so crucial that the entire state of Grenada be prepared and take this information to heart. The cloudiness associated with Beryl, that is very well organized. There is one major, what we call spiral band, and we can see that coming in from this evening into tonight. And sometimes, from past experience, those spiral bands can produce a lot of rainfall. Okay, so we have to be mindful of that. And remember, just as we said yesterday, rainfall estimate based on models production are expected to be over 100 millimeters of rainfall. Okay, so we do expect a lot of rain, and we do expect for the entire state of Grenada tropical force winds. Okay? To our friends in Carriacou and Petit Martinique, they will be much closer to the action. The exact latitude and longitude where it would cross the island has not yet been determined, but it definitely will cross the island. So they would be closer to the center, so they are expected to experience the hurricane force strength winds. Okay, so this is something that we have to take in mind. Another important point that we have to consider also, because Beryl has been making her way eastwards, the surge, the sea surge, there are swells generated by the system, and those are being propagated westward, and we can see those reaching our shorelines from this afternoon. Okay, so our mariners and our fishing folks should take the necessary precautions. I have heard of reports of the fishermen and so already start moving their crafts to sheltered areas. But this is something we have to look out for. The swells are going to reach before the wind. Okay? because the swells were generated days ago. Okay? And as the system moved forward, it will push more and more swells forward. So we expect those swells to start reaching our shoreline this afternoon. So just to go over the latest advisory, and again, that was issued by the Hurricane Center just a few minutes ago. 10.6 degrees north latitude, 53.9 degrees west longitude. Maximum sustained winds 115 miles an hour. Okay? Still moving towards the west, or just a little north of west at 280 degrees. At forward speed of 21 miles an hour. Yesterday they had it at 22 miles an hour, 21 miles an hour. It's still quick moving. It's still a very quick moving system. And as I said before, if there's anything good about this system, is that it is moving quickly. Okay, so I think I'll stop here for now.
Thank you, Mr. Tamer. Just to clarify, swells, can you expound on that a little bit for us?
Okay, when we say swells, swells are, well, in layman terms, we say big waves. Okay, there's a technical difference between waves and swells. Okay, the waves are generated by the winds, the surface winds. Swells are generated from basically from underneath. So, like in this case, it was generated by the low pressure of the system. Okay, so it's like a push for the water. So we expect those, as we say locally, those big waves, or bigger than normal waves, to start affecting us.
Right. So the fishermen, you also need to take precaution. I know some of you have already started moving out your boats into a safe area, so be mindful of that and try not to go swimming. Right, today. Right. Thank you so much. We'll now take you over to Dr. Terence Walters of NADMA.
All right, thank you very much, Presec, and good morning to all the listeners and viewers everywhere. From the National Disaster Management Agency, we just want to reiterate that we are currently under a hurricane warning. All right, under a hurricane warning, and meaning that we can expect, it's possible that we will experience the hurricane conditions within 36 hours, within that period. And as the Met Office, Mr. Tamer from Met Office indicated, that as early as tonight, we can be experiencing those conditions throughout the state, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. At the National Emergency Advisory Council meeting held on Saturday evening, some decisions were made, and just to remind you, we have activated all our shelters beginning at noon today. That's Sunday, okay, noon today, Sunday the 30th of June. All shelters across the state will be activated. And reminding you that your home is your primary shelter, first place of shelter. If you think your home will not withstand the event, then you seek shelter with family or friends. So if you think your home will not withstand the event, then you seek shelter with family and friends. And if you are unable to seek shelter with family and friends, then the emergency shelter is your next place of shelter. So again, it's your home first, then family or friends. And if you are unable to find shelter with family or friends, then the emergency shelter is the place that you can seek to ride out the storm. We have also activated, or we will also activate at midday today, the National Emergency Operations Center, which is located at the NADMA headquarters in Monjulu. And as the name suggests, Emergency Operations Center, there's a National Emergency Operations Center, which is at the NADMA headquarters at Monjulu. And there are the other district emergency operations centers, which is the place where our district teams will be functioning. We have the district teams, we have 17 district teams, but however we have 5 district emergency operation centers, one at Black Bay, another one at River Sally, one at Pearls, one at Carriacou, Bel Air Carriacou, and then one at Petite Martinique. All these emergency operation centers will be activated at noon, and the district teams, representatives of the district teams will be at the emergency operation center at the districts, and will be there throughout the event so that they can provide updates and whatever services may be available. So they will be able to collect information as to what is happening at the district level and provide information to the National Emergency Operations Center right here at Montgelou. We continue to encourage our volunteers to ensure that you are prepared. You prepare yourselves, your families, and we ask you to ensure that you come out and provide the services to the district teams. So we have volunteers across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, and we are depending on our volunteers to provide the services that are required at this time. And if you have been trained by the National Disaster Management Agency in specific areas, and you're interested in providing services, we ask that this is a time when you can volunteer with your district teams and provide some services. We've also recently trained for more than 40 persons in community emergency response teams, that's CERT. So we've trained upwards of 40 people across Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, and they would also provide some services. So there are several volunteers across the state, and we anticipate that these volunteers will come out and provide services as much as possible and as far as possible. So the National Disaster Management Agency, we have mobilized our district teams, we've mobilized the sectors, the Royal Grenada Police Force, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Infrastructure, all the service clubs, and all the stakeholders, the fuel companies, and Grand Lake, Nawasa, utility companies. All of these stakeholders have been mobilized and are ready and prepared to provide services to the general population as we head into what is Hurricane Beryl. Okay, as Hurricane Beryl will impact us. Now again, we want to remind the population that a hurricane is approaching. We cannot tell you, or there's nothing that we can do to prevent the storm from approaching, and we may not be able to tell you exactly what the impacts will be, but we urge you to prepare for the worst scenario, and as we go in. So you prepare yourselves for the worst scenario, and if it is any better, then we will be happy for that. Yes, but we're always preparing for the worst scenario when it comes to these events, because the tropical storms and hurricanes, they can do different things along the path. So we're asking you to be prepared for the worst scenario, and let's hope for the best scenario. In addition, we've asked supermarkets and other stores that can open to do so during the day today, so that residents who may want to make additional purchases at this time can do so. So again, any supermarkets or other entities that can open and provide services to residents, we're asking that you please do so. And just to finally say that the National Emergency Operations Center here at NADMA, will be activated from noon, and we will provide updates throughout the day and into the event as much as possible. So we'll continue to provide updates frequently to the general population, and so we'll let you know what is happening across the state. If the storm or hurricane, not storm, but if the hurricane impacts, what are the impacts, where it's impacting, and we will do that for as long as possible into the event. So we urge you again and remind the general population that the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, is your official source for disaster-related information in Grenada. The official source. Now, information is available everywhere else. there's information available from many other entities, but NADMA, the National Disaster Management Agency, is your official source for disaster-related information. So please verify. Whenever you see information anywhere else, verify with NADMA that the information is authentic. That's what we want you to do. Again, all right, information is available. You'd see things all over. You'd see things from many different sites, many different entities, local, regional, international entities. You'd see information being put out. But for specific information related to Grenada on what is happening with Hurricane Beryl, the National Disaster Management Agency will provide the population with that information on a regular basis. So we ask that you stay tuned, and we will be coming on as frequently as possible to provide you with updates. So I thank you, and I look forward to us having a day where we can provide information and ensure that the population is safe.
Thank you, Dr. Walters. We do have two journalists online, and I know they have two questions to ask, or maybe they have a couple more. We have Mikey, you're live. You can proceed with your question.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right, Dr. Walters, now preparing for the worst, as you mentioned, preparing for the worst scenario, I would think that it requires time and to some degree some clear directives. Are we closer in terms of a directive to the private sector? Are we closer to making a decision as to what the directive would be for the private sector? Because you would find that, and I've received many calls asking, should we be going to work now because we need some time to prepare, and for fear that if they do not show up to work, that they may lose their job. So I think being clear on that will be helpful to a lot of people.
Okay, so what we yesterday evening we did indicate that we will get some directives. So as we proceed into the day, all right, and we monitor the situation and we receive additional updates on the storm, the hurricane, and what it is doing, then we would be able to provide clearer directives as to what is expected from schools, from the private sector, as we proceed. So like I said, we will be providing updates as frequently as possible. So later on in the day today, we will provide clear directives as to what should happen into tonight and tomorrow.
Okay, thank you for that. If I may ask a second question to the meteorologist, Mr. Tema, earlier in your presentation you mentioned the expectation of the rainfall to be about 100 millimeters. Can you contextualize that for us a bit in terms of how many days of rain that would represent, so that people have an idea?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mikey, for that question.
Okay. An average of 100 millimeters of rainfall. If you could imagine the amount of rainfall we had, let's say for June, May, maybe April, put a grand total together. That should be about 100 millimeters of rainfall. So we're looking at those 3 months of rainfall within
a short space of time,
a 6 to 12 hour period. So it's a lot of rainfall. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you, Mikey. Kalistra, you have a question. You may proceed.
Good morning, Dr. Walters. Given the Met Office report that we are expecting some swells, any decision taken yet about what kind of instructions will be given to people in low-lying areas and on our coastlines? And also, are you coordinating with the water companies?
Yes, NAWASA was represented at the National Emergency Advisory Council meeting, and we have been in contact with NAWASA. Concerning the directives for people to evacuate, no, we have not taken any decision on evacuation at this point.
Dr. Walters, just to clarify, my question on the water companies, actually, the bottled water companies, I know Glenelg, is under a recall at the moment, so they're out of the question. But you've got Poly and the others, and if NOASA cannot bring their systems back up, bottled water is going to be important. You talked about the stakeholders, but you did not mention the water suppliers outside of NOASA's system. That's what I'm asking about.
Oh, you're right. So, okay, sorry. Yes, as you said, the water company. So, yes, we have been having discussions about that issue. And again, as we proceed into the morning, we would make some specific decisions about obtaining water in the event that we need to.
Thank you, Kalistra. Any other question from you?
That's it for now. Thank you, Presec.
Okay, thank you. And just by way of recap, now a Category 3 hurricane can cause devastating damage, right, to your roof. And as we go from experience, Hurricane Ivan was a Category 3 when it hit Grenada, if my memory serves me correct. And we lost roof, and there's going to be a lot of flooding. So you really need to be prepared and be cautious. And then we could also recall people playing and swimming and all of that. We really need to take precaution and be prepared and prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. So I'm going to allow Mr. Tamer, Dr. Terence Walters to make their closing, and then we can wrap up. Our next briefing will be around 12 noon this afternoon. So any further comments from you?
Okay, sure. I would just like to go over the last set of info from the last issued advisories. At 8 a.m. this morning, Hurricane Beryl, and this is now being described as very dangerous Category 3 Hurricane Beryl. So the last position at 8 a.m. this morning, 10.6 degrees north, 53.9 degrees west. Now that puts it about 467 miles to the southeast of Grenada. Okay, 467 miles to the southeast of Grenada. Maximum sustained winds are now 115 miles an hour, and Beryl is still moving just about westwards at 21 miles an hour. Okay, at the current, or with the current motion, we can expect the eye of Hurricane Beryl to pass through the Grenadine Islands sometime between the hours of 2 a.m. tomorrow morning and 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Okay, and that would be the main area of concern for us as the state of Grenada. Now, importantly, hurricane force winds extend about 15 miles from the center, and tropical force winds extends 80 miles from the center, which means that the entire state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique is going to experience tropical storm conditions. Rainfall is expected to be heavy. 100 millimeters is projected by all model guidance. So Beryl is now a Category 3 hurricane, and as was predicted and it comes to pass, rapid intensification did occur, and some more is expected. Okay, and we hope, and well, by tomorrow afternoon the center would be to the west of us, so we should start seeing improvements late tomorrow evening into tomorrow night. But as for now, our main area, or our main time of concern is between 2 a.m. tomorrow morning and 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Noting also that we will start feeling the effects, seeing the approach of the clouds from later on this evening. And also, importantly, we will start seeing the swells generated by the system approaching even before the winds, or long before the winds start. And we can expect storms surge with 6 to 9 feet. Okay, so it is important that we take all these factors into consideration and take the necessary steps to rush to safeguard life and property.
Thank you, Mr. Tiama. Dr. Walters.
All right, thank you. And just to remind listeners and viewers that we are under a hurricane warning, which means that we can expect the hurricane conditions within 36 hours. And like the Met Office is indicating, tonight into tomorrow, we can expect those hurricane or dangerous hurricane and storm force conditions across the state. So we urge people to, again, you know, there are things that you can do. Ensure that you have a family disaster plan, your disaster supplies kit, ensure that you have some non-perishable food and water to last for about 3 days. Again, if you're going to the shelter, your home is your first place. Then family or friends, if your home, you think your home will not withstand, and if your family and friends you are unable to get shelter there, then you go to the emergency shelter. We've published the list of emergency shelters, and so it's available, and we ask that you know where your nearest shelter is in the event that you need to go there, that you need to proceed there. So we urge you to ensure that if you're going to the shelter, that you walk with some supplies that can last you for at least 48 hours. So if you are heading to the shelter, you need to walk with some supplies. So we again ask our residents to ensure that you pay attention to the updates from the National Disaster Management Agency. We will be on with you for the entire day into tomorrow, providing updates, live updates as far as possible, as much as possible, ensuring that we keep you updated with the information available on Hurricane Beryl. Okay, so please continue to stay tuned to the National Disaster Management Agency on whatever platform is available to us.
Thank you, Dr. Walters. And today might be a really good day to check on a neighbor. If you have neighbors who might have issues with disability issues and elderly in the community, today might be a good day to check on your neighbor. And of course, if you have extra supplies that you can share, please do so. And the watchword today is prepare. So prepare and we'll be all right. So just prepare for the worst, but hope for the best. Huggins has assured us that they have stocked up on the 20-pound cylinder gas, so you can check out their gas stations and you'll be able to get some gas if you're in need of gasoline. And we have activated the district team, so later on today we'll publish who are the contacts within the district that you can talk to if you want to help and if you want assistance. So thank you again for joining us this morning. We have another update at 12 noon, so see you then.